that we should get information, we certainly feel so entitled. That we didn't get that information as yet, we are of course disappointed. But we are a government that understands the dynamics of international relationships and foreign relationships. We are in no position to flex any kind of muscle. But at the same time, we do not make ourselves a soft target to be taken for granted or disrespected. So we still await that opportunity by the United States government to give us further reportage on the zone strike in our economic zone.
The St. Vincent and the Grenadines Deputy Prime Minister and Minister of National Security, Sinclair Leacock, has broken his government's silence on the recent U.S. airstrike in Caribbean waters. He explained that while many Vincentians at home and in the diaspora have been calling for answers, the administration chose to wait until it had credible and adequate details before making any public pronouncements. Leacock said the situation touches on sensitive diplomatic relationships, regional security cooperation, and the broader economic realities facing small Caribbean states.
As a government are aware that in the international community and in the region, and certainly here at home, many have been concerned that there hasn't been a response from the government through either the Minister of Foreign Affairs or, in my case, from the Minister of National Security. So I have been deliberately cautious and awaiting a sufficiency of information before I can speak intelligently to the matter at hand. And you can only speak about that which you know. My own political sensitivity tells me that there are people who are always anxious to us to be able to seize opportunities that are current to, and these are my words, to demonstrate our masculinity, or as we are saying, that we are a sovereign state and that we can take care of our own affairs.
Whilst St. Lucians also seek answers from the island's government, Leacock admitted the possibility that lives lost may in truth be St. Lucians, adding that Prime Minister Philip J. Pierre, who also remains cautious with his comments on the matter, is actively searching for answers himself.
We should all be mindful of the fact that while this may have happened in our waters, it's not a Vinci thing. Because certainly lives lost are Lucian, but we are one economic and political zone for all intents and purposes. In fact, up to yesterday, the Prime Minister of St. Lucia was hoping for additional information from our Prime Minister, who was not in a position to give him those sets of information that he was seeking. Excuse me. And as far as I'm concerned, St. Lucia is still awaiting that set of information.
The minister then turned to the issue of sovereignty, stressing that independence does not rest solely on force or rhetoric, but on adherence to international law and structured global partnerships. He referenced the country's participation in multilateral institutions and security networks as part of that framework.
Yes, we, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, are a sovereign state, but sovereignty is buttressed and ensured not just by military might or the lack thereof. It is supported through the international commitment to be a country of laws. And we do that by different means. For example, our membership of the United Nations, or membership of other world bodies, whether it is World Bank, IMF, or whether it is through law enforcement governing agencies. Interpol is a good case in point, and other avenues that are available to help us to be societies where the rule of law is the governing direction and dictates as how one conducts themselves. So we are so guided and minded.
Leacock also addressed the delicate balance Caribbean governments must maintain in their relationship with the United States. He made it clear that while the government is concerned, it must act with prudence.
We're also mindful that this is not a first-time drug activity in our waters. And for those who would want to take front, there's still the old, so powder situation in Union Island that has never been resolved. I draw attention to that because the same sets of individuals who may want to see an aggressive response from this country's Prime Minister or this government are the same sets of people who will be mindful of what happens with respect to their remittances from the United States of America to St. Vincent and the Grenadines, their own freedom to travel up and down to and from the United States of America. And no one has to tell us how little a hand that America has to lift to make life difficult. It may be simple, a restriction on corresponding banking relationship. It may just be a travel advisory. It may be a visa restriction. And as soon as life tightens and becomes more difficult in our land, the same set of people ask, what are you doing about it?
Meanwhile, the reported maritime operation has already had domestic consequences. A significant quantity of cocaine, valued at over 1.3 billion EC dollars, surfaced in St. Vincent, prompting arrest and heightened security operations. Authorities there are now preparing for the potential social impact that often follows a large-scale drug seizures.
Here is a classic case where an incident not of our making produces what I call collateral damage. Something that happens in the waters is now acting out on land. And we're not speaking about small quantities of drugs. In fact, I think they face market value somewhere over $500 million, close to $500 million. And there are Vincentians who have been arrested in the course of that exercise. I must dare say, even my own constituency. But more of greater concern is the fact that we do not know what is the extent of our exposure. What we do know is that any time cocaine washes up or appears on the shores of St. Vincent and the Grenadines, there are consequences for escalation in the crime and violence in our blessed land.
Leacock confirmed that the matter is expected to receive further attention at the ongoing 50th regular meeting of the Conference of Heads of Government of the Caribbean Community CARICOM, as leaders also seek clarification. While expressing dissatisfaction over the absence of formal notification, the Deputy Prime Minister concluded that the government will continue to pursue resolution through diplomatic channels, prioritizing national security, economic stability, and regional cooperation. Reporting for the Hot 7 TV News, I am Jasmine Duncan.